and that which was deployed from the area command were there, and they folded their hands and watched those assailants unleash terror, and they did nothing. For us, it's a fearful, state. But more fearful is the fact that as we speak now, except for when Kasim tells us that the governor put a call through to the deputy, I expected that the number 2 citizen of a state, and if by virtue of omission and omission, by sovereignty, Edo State is a country. So that ordinarily would be a vice president. We haven't heard any public statement from the governor. You're number 2 citizen, because those of us who are now kalakawas, we are afraid.
So if the one from Kasim doesn't suffice?
No, it doesn't. You know what Kasim has said is that the governor put a private call to that is not in the public, for us to be assuaged that yes, all is well. We would expect. We're talking about the deputy governor here, not just another citizen, in which case occupied by somebody who is a candidate. The deputy governor, somebody wants to assassinate me, and there are over 12 aspirants. He didn't say government, because Kasim seems to be putting up a position to defend. He didn't say government. He said somebody wants to, and there are over 12 aspirants. So it could have been any of the aspirants. I would expect that the first thing that is that the governor would come and say, look, who wants to exterminate my deputy governor?
To the extent
you
that
must
he said,
come to the root of the police must fish it out. We haven't seen that.
To the extent that he said they came with 2 trucks. That's what Kazim's statement said. So is it that, one wonders, how has it degenerated to the extent that people will come with 2 trucks to attack, as Honorable Osagi said, the deputy governor, but Kazim says now, it was his own talks.
I am worried that in a state, see, there are 2 major parties contesting this election. You would expect that if you have the governor in one of the parties, by virtue of the fact that you cannot be an independent candidate, I expect that he will be the sheriff. I expect that things should not degenerate, because what we have is it's like a banana republic. That's the impression that is being painted to the public, and that's not good for Edo State. I expect that what the governor would do is to establish a level playing field, because the challenge here is the fact that early in the race, the governor has said, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Everybody should line up behind him. And anybody who dares to want to face me eyeball to eyeball over this, my candidate, I'm not sure that I will take it, I'm not sure that I will take it lightly. So that kind of, you would expect that the governor would give a matching order to everybody. Excuse me, ma'am. 2, let me quickly state that we also have in Edo State Chief John Odige Oyegu, first executive governor of Edo State, and by all standards, an elder statesman. When you have that kind of figure, you shouldn't think that children, if you like to put it that way, especially in your political party, will grow and will go to this particular extent that you are now having accusation of spiritual and celestial attacks and physical.
Allow me come in here. I think we've dwelt so much on this issue of assassination attempt, but just recently, before that incident we saw in the State Assembly, we asked a question here on Sunrise Daily. Why is it that politics in Edo State is usually that I don't want to use the word combative, but really, really controversial? We have seen in Edo State where thugs went to the assembly quarters where legislators live.
Many states.
Yes. No. Assembly quarters. We haven't seen quarters. Okay. So we have seen in the assembly. We have seen that in Edo State. They went to the assembly quarters, unleashed mayhem. People were, homes were destroyed and people were hurt. And now we get to see this against the deputy governor in an election year for the state. What exactly is happening? Because once the IG sent his special squad to rid the state of quarters, which they successfully did then, is it safe to say the bad guys are back in the state?
Let me say firstly that the average Edo man is an exuberant, energetic man. Intellectually, educationally, spiritually, and even physically. We have had some of the best sportsmen come out of Edo State. We have had some intellectual giants come out of Edo State. So the Edo State man, and then if you call him a proud man in quotes, whether the Benin man or Isha man, and pride in the sense that it is not arrogant, but pride in the sense that he pretends to know his onions. To that extent, you will expect that there will be robust challenges. My problem is that it has degenerated to fisticuff. It has degenerated to modern day Spartacus. You remember that I came here and I said, I am worried because government does official business with thugs. And my boy asked me if they were repentant thugs. And I said, I didn't follow them to any church where they repented. But even the governor said it in public.
Was that before?
Do you have your facts on this matter? You know, when we say things like this, we have to be very careful.
No, people call, when I make that statement, people called in. I mean, they sent tweeters that you read, and they mentioned names of certain individuals. And I have more than my facts. The governor himself said, when somebody accosted him at Ring Road, that why do you seem to have a seeming propensity to use unscrupulous elements for certain, especially in terms of collecting tax? And this is what he said, that you need a madman to collect tax from mad people. I am quoting him verbatim. That's what he said. So in Edo State, we have seen a situation where, if you like, we used to hear it before. It was like Tales by Moonlight, that cults, thugs and certain unscrupulous elements were doing certain things. We didn't see it in public. Now we are seeing people that have a history of having, that they have been killers, that they have been murderers, who have very serious cases in court, who have even been in prison, doing official business. And you know, the challenge is that if you don't create a benchmark, because government is not for everybody, the responsibility of government is to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people within the shortest possible time, using the best of hands.
At the end of the day, do you think that elections there will eventually, at least largely, be peaceful?
If 2012 standard is anything to go by, because we must sit with this argument that these altercations is taking place in one political party, and that political party has the governor and has the national chairman. I need to continue to emphasize that the other party doesn't have all of that paraphernalia, but they seem to have expressed themselves more maturely than the party that has all of the paraphernalia to whip people, in place. We have seen the other guys say, look, if any of us wins, we will support him. We have seen them have altercations, and they have settled it. But in this particular case, I am worried, because the governor has a responsibility as governor, as chief executive and chief security officer of the state, to ensure that there's a level playing field. We must situate this argument. And the challenge here is the fact that somebody has an anointed candidate, and everybody has warned that the governor should create a level playing field. Dr. Samson Isibo, chairman of CNPP, has said so. The clergy, has said, at any rate, is that what your candidate has the right to contest, just like any other body, any other person has the right to contest.
My only regret is that you do not even let me ask you any questions which you're going to remember for the next time. But it's very important when I asked that question about whether or not the governor had given its consent. You must situate it within the context of loyalty. You talked about how the governor and the deputy have had, it would seem, a very cordial relationship for the past 7.5 years, and then all of a sudden you're beginning to get the governor saying he wants to kill me now, assassination attempt, and it's over, it would seem, ambition. You had to ask that question whether or not he had gotten the approval or support of his principal. You don't think that's important?
You see, loyalty must be situated within the ambit of loyalty to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The preamble says this constitution shall be supreme, and any inaction of any group or individual that is not in consonance with this constitution is null and void. So the question you're asking is that if the deputy governor's aspiration is situated within the constitution, he has the right to so do. There are over 12. Should all of them get the nod? If I decide tomorrow that I want to
would you deprive the governor of his right to support someone else?
No, he has a right to support someone else. But to attempt to whip everybody into line in support of his candidate, whom at any rate he even brought from the blues, who has not been part of the political process, worries us.
All right, thank you, Olu Martins, public affairs analyst, and that's where we also draw the curtains on the show today. Thank you all for watching and for your comments. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Well, thank you. It's been an interesting show, I believe. I'm Maokwe Ogun.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman. I'll let us see you again.